Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the fourth episode for my 1999 film project. Again, watching all of the films featured in Best Movie Year Ever by Brian Raftery. This came out, I think it had a 1998 release. That may have been in Germany. I believe it came out in 1999 in the United States. I remember living up in the mountains and seeing a newspaper clipping or like showtime for this movie at a local kind of independent theater. I didn't get the chance to see it then, but borrowed the DVD from my friend. I actually ordered the Blu-ray after watching it. Ordered the Blu-ray off of Amazon, so hopefully that will be here, in a couple days. But really enjoyed this film. It's pretty short, about an hour and a half. It moves by really quickly, so that's a pretty good thing here. Super kind of like stylized in a way to where you have cartoon like credits, cartoon like stuff in between the acts. Basically, again, we're going to get into spoilers with this. This is broken up into three acts, which basically are repeats of the first act. It's kind of like Groundhog Day in a way, where she does her thing in the first act, and it doesn't work out. She gets to redo that again and do it a little bit differently. That doesn't work out, and then she does it again a third time, which ends up actually working out. So, kind of like Groundhog Day, I'm not sure if she actually has knowledge of what she's done in the first two like attempts. It's kind of hinted that she might, because there's a scene where a car pulls out in front of her. She kind of jumps in front of it, gets past it the first time. Second time she jumps over it, and then the third time she actually ends up talking to the driver of the car and it goes a little bit differently the third time. So there might be a little bit of knowledge of what's going to happen based on her two previous attempts. So it has a little bit of like a Groundhog Day feel with that. Got my notes here. So I really liked there's these really kind of like extreme, not extreme close ups, but when she's talking on the phone with her boyfriend, it's very zoomed in on both her. When it cuts to him, it's super zoomed in on him as well. The concept basically is of the film is her boyfriend lost like $100,000. It got stolen off of a subway basically by some guy. Some guy just basically just took it, and he has to give that money to his boss, basically, kind of like a mobster kind of thing. And she is basically then given 20 minutes to basically run to try to help him get that money. So the first time, like she runs to this grocery store where he's actually attempting to rob it, helps him rob it, and then she ends up getting shot by the police. They then cut to the second attempt where she attempts to get money or like steal money from a bank that her father works at, and then in the end of that segment, the boyfriend gets run over by a car. And then the third one, she ends up going to a casino, earning the $100,000, and then I guess like the guy then her boyfriend finds the guy who stole the money, gets the money back from him, and then she meets up with him, and he's already paid this guy off, so they kind of just walk off together with an extra $100,000. So that's the basis of the film. But in my notes here, I really liked again. I would like to stylize, kind of zoom in, so they would zoom in very close to her when she was talking, or any characters were talking. They were very zoomed in on her. Let's see. So there's basically it's Lola is obviously our main character. We then have Manny or Manny, which is her boyfriend who owes the money, and then I think there's Ronnie, who is the guy that they have to deliver that money to. Again, they have 20 minutes, or she has 20 minutes to basically do something before he starts to rob a store. What else do we got here? I really liked the kind of like when she's running, they did these really intense cuts. So it would show her running from the side. They would then have another cut of her running from the front of her, like she's running toward the camera. They would cut again to her running from the side, cut again from the do another cut to where she's running toward the camera, cut back and forth between that several times, and it was kind of like built this pretty interesting like intensity. And the editing of the film was also really good because that was part of the editing was doing these just kind of rapid cuts of her running from like her apartment to again running to meet him running to the bank where her father works, and then also running to the casino in the third act. The subtitles were kind of off. I don't know if this was like a translation issue because I listened to the English language. So I don't know if it was a. It looked like it was kind of like a dub of it, and then the subtitles didn't exactly match up word for word. There were like a lot of you got the idea of what they were saying, but it was some of the dialogue from what was being spoken to what was being presented in the subtitles was a little bit off at times. Again, there was great editing. One thing I thought was interesting, which is kind of dates the movie a little bit, are telephone cards. So I don't even know if those people still use those with the prevalence of cell phones now. There's no use for them. I used to work at a grocery store where we had a vending machine for international phone cards. So a lot of people would come visit the state and go skiing from out of country. Some people would come from out of country to work in the mountains during the season, and we had a vending machine that would sell these phone cards that would give you a certain number of like international minutes. And Monty used or Manny, I'm gonna go with Monty because that's how they kind of say it in the movie. Uses a phone card. I think he borrows a phone card from like a lady at one point to call Lola or call someone else. Um, Lola's father again works at the bank. There's this whole subplot where he's having an affair with this other lady, and the father is just kind of a jerk, or pretty much is a jerk. Basically, is like going to run off with this other woman who claims to be pregnant, and basically just abandoned Lola and then like her. I think she's got some siblings that are mentioned. You never see them, or Lola's mother. You never see her either. But the music was also like ramped up when she was running, so it made it fairly intense, which was pretty good, pretty interesting there. Um, Whenever Lola would get close to where Monty was, they did this interesting split screen thing. So on the left of the screen, it would show Monty. On the right of the screen, it would show Lola, and then they would eventually, meet up when once that scene was over. Meet up in some way. So they meet up at the store initially. They again rob it. She gets shot by the police. They do that again, and then she's running to him. He ends up getting hit by a car. And then the third one, it shows. I don't know if it did the split screen thing the third time or not. I don't really recall it. But she runs to where he is. He's gone. You see him pop out of a car. Um, yeah, robs the store. Let's see. We had this interesting thing with this interesting. Don't know the artist exactly. I know the song's been covered, multiple times. But as they're running away from the grocery store that they just robbed, "What a Difference a Day Makes" is played, and that's then when they encounter the police. Um, they show flashbacks. I think these are assumed to be flashbacks, at least to me, of Monty and Lola talking, basically between the first and second act, and between the second and third act. They do these kind of flashbacks where they're just laying around talking. Um, Again, she runs again during the second run. They do this. They do these cartoon cut. I don't know, call them cutscenes, but basically it's like an animated version of her running down the stairs. The second time, there's always a dog and this guy in the hallway, and the second time, the guy like trips her as she falls. Let's see. It's kind of like equated to like a video game where, and this came out 99, 98, like maybe like 3 or 4 years before Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time, which did allow you to, if you made a mistake, you could rewind time by using the dagger, and you would fill it with sand. Kind of reminded me of that a little bit because like her first attempt fails, she gets a second attempt, and then kind of like the whole thing with video games. Generally, you get like 3 lives, and then you get the opportunity to basically play the level over again. So that's what it kind of felt like there. Um, it runs it on the father. The second one, in the second scenario, she basically holds the father hostage, gets the bank to give her a bunch of money. She then brings that money to where Monty is, and that's when he gets run over. So now she just has like $100,000. Then it cuts into the third act of that. There's this thing where it has these photos that are like it shows a person, and then you hear like a camera shutter, like a clicking of a camera, and it shows various pictures of those people. I don't know if that's supposed to be showing that person in like an alternate future or showing their past or something like that. It does it to these like this. She runs like by a lady on the street a couple times. It does it to. It does it to a lady that works at the bank. I think like one of the tellers and things like that. Steals $100,000. Basically, the police arrive after she's stolen this money and they're like, "Hey, there's a robber in there." She kind of gets like they don't know it's her, but that's when Monty gets run over. There's another flashback of Monty and Lola talking again. What else? Flashbacks. Lola goes again. In the third act, Monty actually finds the guy who stole the money initially and gets the money back from him. He takes that money and then apparently pays off. I think it was pays off Ronnie. And then in the third act, you just see you see Monty get out of a car. You see kind of Ronnie like slap his like not slap hard, but like a little soft pat on the cheek of Monty, and then Monty walks towards Lola, who then now has $100,000 of her own because she goes to a casino and kind of gambles it off, or gambles on I think it's like black 20 in roulette. Does that a few times. It shows it twice. I don't know if she did it more than that, but then gets the money that she needs to basically repay, or she's going to give the money to repay, give to Monty to repay. Let's make sure the guy's name is right. Yeah, she gives it to Monty to repay Ronnie. All right, yeah, that's how it goes. She bets $100 initially on that, and then it ramps up. She gets more and more money. Um, she can. Lola does this thing where when she screams, she can like shatter glass. It's kind of like a not sure if it's like a superpower, but she yells and breaks a clock at one point, and then yells at the casino and breaks a bunch of like glasses of champagne and things like that. And and that's basically where the movie wraps up. Is once she gives, or you see her and Monty kind of just walk off into the sunset, basically. Really interesting film. Again, not very short, but like an hour and a half, so it's definitely an easy watch. Plays out in three like attempts to run, basically. So it plays out like a little bit like Groundhog Day, a little bit like a video game. One thing I thought was interesting was whenever Lola relies on somebody that isn't herself, it kind of messes up what she's trying to do. So, first attempt to get the money, she helps Monty rob a store, and then she gets shot for that. Second time, she basically steals money from the bank, attempts to get her father to help her. That fails. And on the third attempt, where she does it by herself, she goes to a casino and gambles. Um, she then, and that's the scenario where she ends up winning. So that was just like an interesting takeaway, kind of like when she um, kind of like a just like be yourself, do your own thing. Like don't worry about what other people are doing, and then maybe then everything will work out. That's kind of like the message I took from that. And again, that was Run Lola Run. Really interesting German independent film. The version I watched had multiple languages. I think it was had it like in like Dutch and whatnot. It initially started out that I changed the language track to English. Once I get the Blu-ray, I might listen through or watch it again with subtitles with the original language track. I will just have to see how it goes because I did notice some kind of inconsistencies with what the characters were saying, with what the subtitles were saying when I watched it in English with the subtitles. So Blu-ray coming out, I'll be getting that. It does have a director commentary. I didn't watch that when I did it initially. When I get the Blu-ray, I'll watch the commentary probably, and probably watch the movie again. But Run Lola Run is definitely a very interesting film. Definitely a lot of fun. I like that it's only an hour and a half, so it watches very quickly. And again, thought the movie was quite entertaining. Next up is Office Space. I've seen that many times, but I'll be rewatching it. I have the DVD in there. There's a pile of DVDs right behind me. It's right in there. I think the 2005 version of the DVD. I don't know if it's streaming anywhere. If it's streaming anywhere, I might watch it there as well. But we have that on DVD. After that, I think we have The Matrix. So Office Space coming up next, followed by The Matrix. And again, that's going to do it for this video. Remember to like, comment, share, and subscribe. We'll see you again next time when we cover Office Space. That's going to do it for now. And thanks again for watching. Take care.